Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and in this video, we are going to make some cowboy candy. Oftentimes I have viewers ask me, Steve, what is your go-to for snacks? And I really don't get into sweets that much. For me, a great snack, if I've got the munchies, is a handful of nuts, a slice of cheese, maybe some olives, or my favorite is candied jalapeños or cowboy candy. Early August is one of my favorite times in Wisconsin because that's when the peppers start coming. So, armed with a little bowl and a pair of shears, I went out, harvested some peppers to make some cowboy candy. A couple of quick precautions for this recipe. First off, gloves. There have been far too many times in my life where I thought I would be fine without gloves, cutting up peppers, only later to touch myself someplace sensitive. We'll just say the eyeballs. And wow, unpleasant. So I've learned my lesson. I wear gloves. Additionally, because I'm going to be using a mandolin slicer to get uniform slices of jalapeños, I've got some cut-proof gloves as well. Again, there have been enough times where I've taken off a little bit of a fingertip, just thinking I'm a stud, using that mandolin. Lesson learned. I find that about a pound of jalapeños sliced is what it takes for me to get 2 pints, which is what I'm shooting for. And I've probably got around 1.25 pounds right here. I figure once I get rid of the stems, I should be right around 1 pound or a half kilo. I have my mandolin, which I have set to a 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters. And away we go. All right, there we go. And I'm not sure if you can see this, but we do have 1 pound, 1 ounce. So I did a pretty good job eyeballing that. And if you're metric, that's 484 grams. But so long as you get anywhere in the neighborhood, that'll be fine. I'll set these aside and start up the brine. For all that is great about keto, one of the things that isn't so great is the price of sweeteners. And that may be a sticking point for some of you on this recipe, because for a pound of jalapeños, or about 2 pints, you need 2 cups of sweetener. My preferred sweetener is allulose. I use whatever's on sale. I got a good price on the Splenda brand, so that's what I'm going to be using. Now, allulose is interesting in that it is about 60% as sweet as sugar. It caramelizes very well, and there have been some keto YouTubers that have cited studies that say that allulose actually can blunt a glucose response. So even though this recipe is going to be fairly high in total carbs, if you count total carbs, the net carb and glucose impact on your body is going to be negligible. So into a medium-sized stock pot, I have got my 2 cups or 380 grams of allulose, 1 cup or about 240 ml of apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon of garlic powder or granulated garlic, a tablespoon of whole mustard seeds, a 1/4 teaspoon of celery seed, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. Turn on the heat and bring this to a boil. Once this hits a boil, I'm going to take the temperature down to a simmer and let it simmer for 5 minutes. And I totally fogged up my camera here. And while that simmers, I'm going to sterilize my 2 pint jars and lids. Now, I used to boil them, but my wife, who's a surgical nurse, said, why don't you just use the Innova Precision Oven, set it to 220 degrees, 100% humidity, 4 minutes later, sterilized. That's what they do to surgical tools. So, that's what I did. Now, we'll add in the jalapeno slices. And we'll cook these, stirring fairly frequently, for the next 4 minutes. We want to soften them up just a bit, while still keeping them kind of crispy. 4 minutes seems like it's sort of the sweet spot for that. It's been 4 minutes, so I'm going to remove this from the heat. Scoop my peppers out of the brine. And then I have my 2 very hot sanitized jars, which I will load up with the jalapeno slices. Now, based on how full these got, I probably could have gone about 1.5 pounds and really packed these. Take a look here, they're not especially packed. Oh, that's still hot. But I'm gonna add my brine. Oh, pretty much perfect right there. Pack these down just a little. Screw on lids. Little blue tape. Today's date. Then I'll let these cool to about room temperature and put them in the fridge for the next 2 weeks. Now I happen to have a jar here that I made a few weeks ago. Let's give these a taste. Love it. It is such a great balance between the sweet and the heat, and the jalapenos just got enough of that crunch to them. Oh boy, this is truly like candy to me. As is always the case, I will include a link down in the description below to the printable recipe with macros. A little caveat though on the macros. I think those are going to be kind of difficult to calculate. I don't know how much of that allulose actually winds up on any given slice of pepper. I don't know what a serving size ought to be, so I'm just going to kind of do my best guess at it, or maybe I'll just give you the macros for the entire batch and you can kind of divide it out based on your particular serving size. But anyhow, if you enjoyed this video, please click that like button. If you're not a subscriber already, tap that subscribe button, then hit the bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Lastly, if you'd like to help support the Serious Keto Test Kitchen, click that join button and see what memberships and perks are all about. Thanks for watching.